Dicks.
What up, boys? How you doing? Gentlemen, back at it again with another episode of Allcraft. Today, we of course are going to be joined with, of course, the lovely Rich Campbell, and also AnnieFuchsia, who now has more subs than I do.
And more mounts. You know, I don't want to get too emotional to start things off, but
I was not going to mention mounts today, but I guess here we are.
It'll probably come up, I'm going to be completely honest, but I don't want to get too emotional here, but this is a very special episode to me. I'm not sure if you two remember, but exactly 1 year ago today, just about, on July 4th, we did an episode of Allcraft. Annie was the guest, and really? It's kind of rare that you can actually remember the last time that, you know, we were all together for an episode of Allcraft. And I remember that after show with McConnell, and that was kind of, for me, one of the first times that, you know, after all the drama that happened with getting fired and all these different things, that I felt really comfortable with what I was doing. And a lot of that's because of you guys. And I look back on those memories, and for the first time, I just remember feeling these memories of safety and protection. And
I wasn't ready for these emotions.
I know, I'm getting really emotional because when I think of safety and protection, I think of NordVPN, the new official sponsor of Allcraft. When I think safety, I think about securing my internet with NordVPN. You can have the same feelings of safety and protection that I have with all of these incredible memories if you use code Allcraft to get NordVPN today. There's a strictly no logs policy. They don't track, collect, or share any of your private data. It's none of their business, and it's none of ours. Code Allcraft.
Code Allcraft, guys. We finally got a sponsor. Shout out to NordVPN for putting faith in the show. Thanks a lot to them. Use code Allcraft if you want to have a VPN and watch shows that you shouldn't be able to see. Absolutely. So, yeah, Annie. And no, we also did mean you protected us too, okay? Like, Rich wasn't just saying that only just for the
first
segue,
part was
okay?
true. Yeah,
of course it was. Absolutely.
It's very true. I'm excited for this episode because honestly, a lot's changed. Last time we were complaining about WoW, and now we're actually at the place where I think we probably have a lot to talk about with WoW. But Annie, you've made the jump. You've tried to dabble in the Final Fantasy waters. Asmon is 2 days away from doing the same. Mm-hmm. So I think we have a lot to talk about there. And I think it probably makes the most sense to start with all things 9.1. Annie, how's your experience been so far with the new patch?
So because of the inevitable time gating, there isn't that much you can do right now, especially being the week before the raids and everything are properly out. So the experience is very limited. I think it's cool that we have a new zone to work with. We have some new rares to look at, to farm as well. And then we have some new little, I guess, currencies, little systems of gear upgrading and stuff like that. Always nice to see those new things happening. But honestly, once you've gone through the quest line, there isn't that much to do until you have to wait for Blizzard to give us the new things on a weekly basis where you can actually progress the reputations and progress everything else too. With having that said, I think the main exciting thing about any patch is the raid, and that's not here yet. So at the moment, there isn't that much going on, I guess. For a week, people who are interested in rares or any mounts, you can you can go and start farming things for sure. And having the new zone is pretty cool too. But other than that, there isn't that much to do. You just wait for the new season, wait for the new raid.
Well, I took a little bit of a break, obviously, from World of Warcraft, and usually one of the things that would always get me excited to come back, if I ever took even a brief break at the end of a patch or something like that, I would look at the rewards, and the rewards were always something that pulled me back. One of the biggest things with that would be what the new tier sets look like. And now going into Shadowlands, we were kind of promised tier sets and that they were going to return. And with 9.1, to my understanding, we're still not getting them, right? We're getting those the gem sockets.
You get Shungite. They give you Shungite crystals instead, and we're not getting tier sets until 9.2. That's my understanding.
So is it guaranteed that 9.2 is going to be the time, or is that still up in the air?
I think
seems
it
like
is.
it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they confirmed that. I think that they actually stated pretty clearly that 9.2 was going to be the time that that tier sets come back. And I'm excited for that. I mean, as somebody who farms transmog all the time, it's going to be great to have more stuff to farm like that. Absolutely. But it would have been better if it was in this tier. Absolutely. Like, Annie, what do you think of the Shards of Domination system that's coming out in the new patch with the new raid?
So I think it's a pretty cool system. Just having new gems, and gems not just being stats but actual different effects and stuff. I am worried about the balancing, how that's going to work out, because the obviously the corruptions were a bit of a disaster. But other than that, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting to have something to play around with, and they also have set bonuses. I think that's cool too. I do think it's bad that we went from being able to PvP without PvEing, but now potentially needing to PvE as well, because the gem slots are they're usable outside the raid too. Like the set bonuses are raid only, but the sockets themselves can be used outside. So I can see potentially PvPers not being happy, and I can see Mythic Plus people potentially also not being very happy that they do feel somewhat forced to still raid in order to get those pieces of gear. I haven't looked at the balancing exactly to know whether it is indeed the best gear for everyone, but that part of it does, I guess, worry me a little bit, that they might not be very good in other aspects of the game. But I think it's cool in general to have as a raid reward.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that like having cool little things that people can go after in the raids does really matter, and it does make it more eventful. But it seems like, especially with the way that Blizzard designs the game now, with effectively like 36 different classes, there's probably going to be a handful of them that are going to want to have Shards of Domination gear as their PvP gear, which is certainly going to make things more complicated. And it's always disappointing whenever that stuff happens, especially for like people that are like really serious PvPers. But as long as the difference isn't something that's like astronomical, like I remember whenever they brought out Crucible of Storms and you had all those absorb items and you had to just like constantly PvE, and you had to also go for like Titan Forges and stuff, like, oh, that was awful. So hopefully
Titan
that won't happen.
Forging was the worst ever in WoW, and I'm so happy it's gone, and I do hope it never comes back. I was talking to my stream the other day about, so I'm not a fan of Gacha. I don't know if Rich agrees, with all the Genshin Impact gameplay, but I don't think Gacha is a very good game genre. It's a very like manipulative way of playing with psychology, because it's like you spend so much time farming a piece of item, and then at the end of the day, in order to upgrade that piece of item, you have to spend so much time to go and farm that same item. In many cases, it's not even farming, it's paying. So yeah, with that being said, it was kind of pointed out to me, and I realized as well, Titan Forging is a little bit of that, because you're farming the same item, but you want it multiple times in order to get the correct version of it. And I think it's really good that Titan Forging is gone.
I'm very glad about that too.
Nah, Titan Forging would be a lot more fun if you could just buy it. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Imagine if you got a new item
that would complete the whole gacha idea.
No, here's the thing. I actually I like playing gacha games more than I like.
You
playing
can, Rich. WoW
right
tokens.
Now. Yeah, that's actually something that I wanted to bring up, because here's the thing. I am a filthy pay-to-win player when I'm paying a game that's very obviously set up that way, and I'm okay with that. Like you were even watching the videos for Lost Ark the other day, and it was like pay to hearth, pay to travel, pay to have a girlfriend in the game. It was like crazy. You can literally pay for anything that you want in the game. It's like you want to send a message, pay for it, but it's right up front. It's in your face. Like it's not sneaky. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the way that Lost Ark works, and we can talk about this for a second, is that Lost Ark is... Andy, have you seen anything about Lost Ark at all?
I've only heard of it. That's it. I know nothing about it.
Yeah, it's like a Korean game. It's being moved over to the West, and there's like kind of a thing where you can have a base subscription. It's a free game. You can play it for free. There's no box cost, and there's no sub fee. And what they have instead of that is that they have this kind of, it's like a membership thing that you pay for regularly, and it gives you a bunch of little bonuses, right? So like crafting goes faster, you can hearth more often, etc. And I do think that like Lost Ark, that isn't as bad as having games that actually have straight up real pay to win. And I don't know if Lost Ark has this as well, but I think that really pay to win occurs, and this is how I see it. Pay to win occurs when the amount of money that you can put in is not finite. So for example, you can buy as many WoW tokens as you want, and with certain games you can spend as much money as you want and you'll just keep getting better and better stuff. But with something like WoW tokens is probably the best example, but before that the only thing you could really do is pay $15 a month to play the game. And I think that really the Lost Ark things that you can buy, like the sub fee, is kind of like it's kind of like a sub fee for Lost Ark in the same way that it is for WoW.
People are going to make fun of me for what I'm about to say, and that's totally fine. And you can totally disagree with me, and it's totally okay. When you play something like Genshin Impact, for example, I will use that as an example. They make spending your money kind of fun, right? Like you're going in and you don't necessarily need the characters. It's a very PvE experience, and you can just enjoy it without spending any money. But if you spend the money, there's like, look, it straight up is gambling. And look, some people make gambling streams their entire job, their entire livelihood. For this, it is something that is somewhat fun to spend your money, and it feels like it's a well thought out system at the very least. Some people don't want to partake in it, and they don't. The thing that is annoying about WoW right now, when I was looking at coming back and I was looking at all the crafted gear, I was like, oh, okay, so if I put in a WoW token, I can basically get a full set of best in slot for like, what, $200 or something like that. It's like it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's part of the game, and it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable.
I feel like the boosting problem has gotten worse.
Well, like not best in slot, with being gone with buying BOE items crafted. I was watching one of the catch-up videos on all of the things that you can grab. Yeah, it's not necessarily BIS. I think you can craft 1 230 item for yourself, but you can only equip one of those.
Well, you can also pay for carries, right? And I think this is something that I'm sure, Annie, you've noticed this too over time. Like the boosting problem in WoW has only gotten worse and more prevalent. Like back in Cataclysm, whenever I used to boost people for gold, there was like a handful of people that I would just like continuously sell things to. And nowadays people are lining up 15 buyers for like an ahead of the curve carry every half hour. It's so popular now. And
no, it definitely is.
I don't know what that's going to do to the game, because I bet especially for us, because we're streamers, we can kind of curate the kind of people that we're playing with more because we play with the same people regularly and it's easier for us to pug. But I can only imagine, I was talking to somebody about doing a Mythic Plus. Imagine doing a plus 15 Mythic Plus and then finding out 3 trash pulls in that the guy that you're playing with is boosted.
Yeah. No, I think that is a real problem, the boosting thing, because I don't think WoW token leading to BOEs is a huge problem, but I do agree that boosting is. But when we talk about boosts, though, the good ones that give you good gear, that's quite expensive. Not everyday Andy is able to afford that, right? If you compare with the money put in. So I guess because of that, I'm a little bit biased, and I think that it's not that bad to have a WoW token. Maybe also because I know that people used to buy gold even before WoW tokens were a thing. I don't know. I think I do agree, though, that it is bad, and I've talked about it on stream as well, where whenever I'm looking at the LFG system, if I see somebody posting sells, boosts, I do report them. Everyone should report them. They shouldn't be in the game. I've seen Asmongold do it too, and I think it's really good. We need more people in EU. Just report them all, get them out of the game. But it kind of just... I guess when I'm walking around in WoW, I don't feel like, oh, that person bought that. Right, but then in certain games, you walk around and it's like, oh yeah, that's the thing from the store. Well, apart from store mounts, of course.
Bad timing
in terms of power, I can't look at somebody and just be like, that person spent money. I feel bad. I want to spend money too, so I can be just as cool. But yeah, store mounts. That's another one which is very interesting today, actually.
The thing that I will say about you bring up the idea of people bought gold before you could buy a WoW token, for example. I feel like if a game is very upfront about spending money, and you know that getting into it, if you're like, I don't want to play a game that tries to drain my entire bank account, you can somewhat avoid it. with WoW, it's slowly changed over time to have more and more access to different things like gold. And I feel like once it's in the game, I feel like there is almost a pressure to do it. You almost feel like you're not achieving what you can achieve in the game if you don't have a WoW token, if you don't buy WoW tokens every now and then or use the WoW tokens to get gold, is the reason why I dislike it.
I don't know if they're ever going to deal with it, honestly. Like, because it's like I do this. I mean, yeah, it's like you can't. It's a way you can't put. It's like toothpaste, right? You can't put toothpaste back in the bottle. I think that's basically how it is with WoW. With WoW tokens, like there's no way. I mean, how can they get rid of it after they've had it for so long? And I do the same thing with the advertisements. I looked today, and there were 5 real ones, and there was like 13 or something like that fake ones. It was crazy. Yeah. It's actually more fake ones than real ones. But either way, I am really excited for the raid. I know that obviously like it's been negative for a lot of people. And I think that like Annie, you probably had this happen a lot too, with like people coming into your stream asking you like before you started playing Final Fantasy, probably asking you like why you're still playing WoW, etc. And it is kind of sad as somebody who's been a fan of WoW. I mean, obviously you played it, a lot too. And it's sad to see kind of where things are going and like where the community's perception is. Because I've noticed this a lot recently, that the entire community perception of WoW has just gotten incredibly negative. And at least in my recent memory, I can't remember a time where it was this bad.
No, I agree completely. I had many people being very happy that I'm playing Final Fantasy, and which is fine, right? But then unhappy that I play WoW as well. So whenever I would be like, well, I have a WoW raid tonight, so I'm going to do Karazhan, for example. I did Karazhan today too. Yeah. Or like whenever 9.1 came out, people have been like not very happy with me playing WoW because it's like, the spam starts like 9.1 will fix the game, copium. So it's been a lot of resistance in that way. And it's sad because like I understand where people are coming from, but it's still sad because like we still want the game to be good, right? And we still at least do look forward to the raids. We can admit that there's certain things that are not good, but yeah, it is sad as a streamer, especially playing WoW after for this long and then start seeing that.
What do you think it is that like makes this so like why do you think people feel this way? Do you think it's just like the content drought, or is it just like the systems, or what, like? Because it's really hard for me to really pin down why people feel the same way that they do. And I think it's almost like like all of them together. And that's caused people to just feel like so much animosity towards like even just Blizzard as a whole.
Yeah, I think Blizzard has made questionable decisions over time, right? Like I think a large part of the negative started when they laid off a bunch of people, for example.
Which time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of negative PR against that or around that has made people feel very skeptical about Blizzard and where their priorities are with where they put their money. And then people see systems in the game that they're not happy with, and people give feedback. And a lot of very popular topics like conduit energy has never been fixed, even though it's been talked about for so long. So I think all these negative things kind of like piled up, and the tipping point I think was the long drought. Like I think because it was so long of nothing, then I think people felt everything like 100 times more because things had already been stacking up, and now like they can't even get a patch out. I think that's been the main mindset, which has made people really give up. And I think that's also what has given Final Fantasy a chance to shine, because at the same time as Blizzard having all these negative things happen to them with the PR, with all the decisions and everything, the Fan Fest was really, really successful and has, even gotten attention from people outside of the game with how caring the dev teams seem to be of each other. And I think that's something that a lot of WoW people feel that Blizzard doesn't have. People feel.
I mean, even look what they did for you and all the other streamers, like actually doing an event that supported you guys and giving away the mount. Like if Blizzard gave away that mount,
I've never been a part of a campaign in this like magnitude. Like it's actually crazy. For people who don't know, basically Square Enix has made a campaign for Final Fantasy. They have a list of streamers, and anyone who gifts subs to these streamers unlocks a mount in game. So it's kind of like Twitch drops, but using subs. And it's crazy for me to think that something like that happened. Obviously, Square Enix probably had to pay Twitch, right, for the campaign to be a thing. But otherwise, they made use of a mount, which was a thing 2-3 years ago in a different campaign that was NA only. So this time it's worldwide. And yeah, they included me as well. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I can hear things I don't want to hear. There we go.
So they included you as well?
Yeah, so I was included too. So a lot of some people have been quite unhappy with the decision of what streamers have been included in this. And some people mention me being new, for example. But the thing that is interesting is, I think, from looking at the list, I was the only World of Warcraft streamer that was actually chosen to be a part of this, even though there were at least 10 different World of Warcraft streamers that also had sponsored segments. And I think that's a part of what I would compliment Square Enix for, because I think that means they actually watched my stream. Because I played more than the sponsored segments, and I've been enjoying it, and I've been leveling, and I've been, exploring all different aspects of the game. And the fact that they put me on this list, but no other World of Warcraft streamer, tells me that they actually look at what their content creators do. And I think they saw that, hey, she seems interested in the game. Maybe we should include her, because some people think it's just about viewer numbers, but no, like there were World of Warcraft streamers with more viewers than me who did not get invited to this thing. And also, I was a last edition. Like they literally told me about it like 2 days before it happened. So I was not a part of the plan at all. They just messaged me like, oh, by the way, we have this thing happening. Do you want to be a part of it? And I was like,
yeah,
oh.
I mean, I don't think Blizzard has ever really done anything like that. I mean, I think the most that Blizzard's ever done for you, Annie, is I think they had you on the launcher once. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so the EU team used to have a launcher going on with many of the EU streamers, and I was a part of that too. I was on the launcher a few times, not just once. But as people were laid off, that became one of the things that couldn't happen anymore.
And that was EU, that was EU only streamers.
Yeah, it was EU only.
It's an EU initiative, and I'm pretty sure that whole team's gone, right? So
yeah,
just to look back realistically, I think that supporting people with the launcher would have been a very cool thing to do. I think the power of the launcher was even seen, just to go back in the time machine. The original MDI had some of the craziest viewer numbers that you ever would have seen, because there was actually an embed on the launcher. Something like that, it's a cool thing to have. It supports the community. But I think Blizzard is very afraid of those initiatives, because let's say they support random streamer, and let's say that random streamer then says something that's against Blizzard's views. It even happened during a Hearthstone tournament.
Well, I mean, if they, it did. I mean, or also like if they had Method Josh on the launcher, they'd probably, be really upset about what happened, right? I mean, let's just cut to the chase. 100%. But I think that really it's just Blizzard being way, way, way oversensitive to this kind of stuff. Nobody thinks that it's
like
Blizzard's
lots of bureaucracy.
Fault. Like it's just bureaucracy, like safety, abundance of caution for the sake of abundance of caution. It's ridiculous. Blizzard is way too close to the belt with this kind of stuff. And I think that they focus way too much on PR and public image, which obviously isn't fucking working, because everybody hates them. Like every time that they post anything, people are constantly mad at them. And it doesn't matter how many politically correct G-rated streamers they put on the launcher or try to promote. That's not going to change, because people still have resentment towards the company in general. In my opinion, I think that their entire perspective is fucking ridiculous. And as one of those people that's probably, not avoided more often than not, I would assume, because of how I act, it is frustrating to see that happen. It definitely is.
Sad. It's sad. because in this case, being cautious and everything is making them lose any kind of trust with anyone.
Yep.
And they're not holding back with the things that they probably know is not very popular. Like now we have another 6-month sub mount. Like, why?
Well, the reason why, I think the reason why they add the sub mount now is very clear, because people are just now getting into 9.1 and the raid isn't out yet. So people will still be having that idea, that kind of that new feel of the patch, and think, oh man, I can't wait to play this all the time. I might as well get a 6-month sub. I'm going to start playing WoW now. And like before people can sort of see the like the system that they're going to be doing and like kind of like what the scope of the content really is, they bring it out very early in so they can lock people into a sub for 6 months. And I think that's the main reason. Have you seen the mount animation for this, Annie?
Only seen a picture, not the animation, but even the picture looked really good.
It's fucking awesome. Like it is. Like I hate to say it, but it's really cool. It's amazing.
This is the old one. I was like, wait,
we're showing the old mount on the stream.
I was like, man, I've been gone such a long time. The classic Mechagon already came out. Sheesh. I didn't realize. I do think that the thing with like 6-month mounts and all of these mounts is, if they happened and they were also doing initiatives to support the community, maybe it would be a conversation. Like Final Fantasy very easily could have put the fat black chocobo on the store for $20 or whatever it costs to get 4 subs, but they didn't. And I think communities are too smart right now to not just do the math and realize that a company did something for its community.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of what happens is like a community loses the trust that the brand or whatever loses the trust that they have from the community. And then after that, everything is seen through the lens of increasing player participation metrics or trying to maximize quarterly profits or whatever the reason that people have to be upset about Blizzard is. They will look at everything through that lens. It's the same as like the idea of like borrowed power. People extrapolate that to almost anything that Blizzard adds into the expansion at all. And I think that's something that, again, it's about general sentiment and demeanor. And if you have people that are not happy consistently, that's a problem. And it doesn't really matter about how many other initiatives you do or what you're posting about on Twitter or anything like that. If you have people in the community that are not happy and they're expressing that all the time, like I did notice with this mount, one thing that's different, maybe they'll add it later, I don't know. But with this mount, they actually did not have a video for it. This is the first time that they brought out a mount like this without a video. And if a video like that, if it doesn't come out or if it's on like a special Blizzard place rather than YouTube, I think it's very clearly because people have just been crazy downvoting anything Blizzard. Like if you look at any of their videos, even videos for like the survival guide, I mean, these things have gotten more downvotes than the start of BFA.
Didn't they turn on comments on some of the videos too?
I think so.
Like they must know it's so negative, then why do they bring this mount now? Like, is it really that much? Is it really that worth?
I think that really what happens is that the people that I think it's honestly just as simple. They have certain profit metrics that they have to meet. They bring these mounts out. They're, overstaffed with bureaucracy. They're just trying to milk it as much as possible. There's unfortunately a word that I've heard used, and I've started using it myself sometimes with WoW. And the word is managed decline. That's whenever a company knows that a product is losing popularity and losing value, and they do pretty much whatever they can to extend that life cycle as much as possible while still making money off of it. And that's effectively what it is. And even for this right here, right, the launch trailer, this has over like what's that, 2,000 almost dislikes for the content. And I think that 8.1 content itself hasn't really been like just a complete disaster, but still people are very, very unhappy about it. And I think this will continue to be the case until Blizzard can get a handle on their own PR. Because as I said, it seems very ironic to me that Blizzard, who seems to be one of the most PR-minded companies in terms of interacting with streamers and brand friendliness and that kind of stuff, they somehow can't manage to have a good image for their own community.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring up, I actually scrolled through the Burning Crusade survival guide that you mentioned. And yeah, it's like, it's so negative for something when you even look back to like Classic, how excited people really were. it just seems like it's hard to keep up with some of the negative sentiment that's just been festering. And it really does feel like that. It just feels like it's been festering for a really long time. And I mean, I mentioned it on the last episode, and I didn't even know that this was going to be the case until really this week. I'm not going to come back for 9.1. And that's one of the big reasons why a lot of the things that, you know, Asmon and I were talking about doing when we were talking about the direction of the show, it's not super World of Warcraft focused anymore. I thought that I was going to come back for 9.1. And then I looked at everything. I watched Asmon's stream. I watched the Bellular video where he's talking about all the stuff to do. And I'm watching the recap video, and he's talking about Renown, and he's talking about Torghast. And I was like, wait, these are the reasons why I took the break in the first place. Why am I going to come back and bat my head against this? So for now, I think I'll probably come back in 9.2. I still do think that I'll come back in 9.2, but as of right now, there's a real chance that I just never come back to World of Warcraft. I'm more excited to play Final Fantasy and learn about that game. I'm more excited for Ashes of Creation, for Lost Ark, for New World. Like, all of these games, I think at least have a chance, because when I look at World of Warcraft, I think it's very clear that the devs who have made the mistakes in the first place do not know what they're doing. I don't think that there's anything. Maybe there's some insidious stuff going on to try to earn the most revenue possible, but I think it's just clear at this point the devs have no idea what they're doing with the game.
Well, okay. So, Annie, do you remember back at the beginning of Shadowlands where they nerfed the Rune Blade of Baron Rivendare? Do you remember this?
They nerfed what?
So there's a sword. It's a two-handed sword, and it makes you run 10% faster, okay? And at the beginning of Shadowlands, they made it only affect people that are level 49 and lower. So effectively, if you were level 50, it wouldn't work. Well, what they did, well, there was an outcry about that. People were very unhappy about the fact that
Is it a two-handed sword?
Oh, yes, it is.
That's why I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's very, very useful.
Because on the Warlock side, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're missing out. It's fucking amazing. Well, it was, because here's what happened. So it got changed back in Shadowlands. Guess what happens in 9.1? Blizzard changes the Rune Blade of Baron Rivendare again. And they nerf the movement speed bonus from 10% to 12 speed. So that's basically the difference between 10% and 1%, for anybody who doesn't know like what the calculation is.
Jesus Christ. And like the question is then just why?
Who asked? Who asked for this? Like, and
undetected.
Yeah, well, we're having like, this is the second iteration of changing of stats on a two-handed sword from classic WoW. And somehow this is getting more focus on it than bugs that have been in the game for sometimes like years, and different little small problems that are bad for the game. Why is this even on their radar? And again, like, the change isn't that big of a deal, but I think that it just indicates the fact that they are just like, they're just so wrong-headed about what they look at and what they focus on. It's
they just
crazy
focus on
to
the
me.
wrong things.
And they double down on the dumbest shit. And look, I double down on the dumbest shit all the time. So if anybody can actually look at this and see this as a character flaw, it's me. When you look at the stuff that they double down on, it's like, okay, islands were failing last expansion. Torghast is something that people don't like. Instead of going, hey, let's get rid of it, it goes, let's just put all the rewards in there, and then they'll have no choice but to do it as a chore every single day. System saved, right? It's like, no, this isn't what we want to do. And I don't know how the changes with Torghast feel. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. I obviously, like I said, I haven't gone back into Torghast. I did hear in a lot of the videos that some of the changes were being viewed as positive. Yeah. But the most positive thing that I heard in 9.1 from every single person on WoW Twitter and everybody who I've had conversations with is the fact that alts don't need to go through that story quest for Cynthia or whatever the heck the new island's called. That's what I said.
Yeah, apparently there's a working alt skip, which is really nice because
I did it. It's so good. It's perfect. You just click a button, it's done.
I think it's awesome. Oh, you mean you did it on an alt?
Yep.
You just click a button. Oh,
you have to do it once on the main.
Yeah, I did it on my main as well. I haven't checked on an alt yet, but that's a really, really nice thing because we've been complaining for how long about the original Maw questing. Is that thing still? Do you still have to do that on alts when you just start leveling?
I don't know. Like, the Maw starting quest line doesn't really annoy me because I don't even do Threads of Fate. I just do the quest lines, so I don't really worry about it that much. It's not that bad to me. But yeah, I could see how it would be monotonous.
But you still had to do it even if you pick threads.
Yes,
no?
I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. It was
It's
anyway.
unfortunate.
I did it on someone else, and it was so depressing. So I'm glad this doesn't have to be done on alts.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a lot better. And honestly, I'm glad. And this is one thing I'll say with Torghast. I am glad that Blizzard is trying to salvage and make Torghast better rather than what they did with Islands. Because what they did with Islands is very simple. As soon as they got negative feedback about Islands, they said, fuck it, we're done. We don't want to do it anymore. We don't want to think about it anymore. It's just like, okay, you guys don't like it. That's all right. Same with Warfronts. They made another Warfront, but other than that, it just didn't really do anything. So I feel like it's better for Blizzard to try to fix systems and make them better. And I commend Blizzard for trying to make Torghast better in 9.1, adding in new cosmetic rewards. And I'm actually really looking forward to the content that they're going to come up with Torghast. I haven't done a whole lot of it because most of it doesn't unlock until the raid comes out. So I'll have to see that then. But still, I'm very glad that they're actually trying to salvage a system and make it better rather than just as soon as people say they don't like it, Blizzard just gives up immediately and starts working on the next expansion.
So
yeah, I haven't tried the new Torghast, but I think it's interesting that they have added a score system, and having some cosmetic rewards is not bad either. I'd rather have that than the endless anima farm for cosmetics.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least then you're doing something, and you could also try to do it on different specs or whatever. But yeah, I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know if it's a lot better, but I have heard some positive feedback on it.
Yeah, my question for you, Asmon, as somebody who's been in Torghast a lot, I think that Annie started to touch upon some of it, but when you look at it as a system, it very much did feel like a repetitive chore every time that you went in. Especially when you were focusing so much, at least this is early when Shadowlands first came out, on trying to make sure that you were in there every single week on schedule, making sure that you didn't miss your reset so you could get your legendaries on time. Does Torghast still...
Well, once you have your legendary, you didn't really have to do it anymore, right? Like, you just had to do it for, what was it, 3 weeks, and then you never had to do it again. So it was never really a chore. Like, for somebody who only cared about one legendary.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to ask, is like, has that alleviated a lot of the feelings of pain that Torghast had early on?
I think Torghast, the problem that it had in 9.0 is you had to do it twice. Like, if you just had to do it once a week, it'd be okay. But like, after you get done with one Torghast run, then you immediately have to go back and do it again. The back-to-back runs was the problem for the whole for the whole time. It had nothing really to do with having to do it once a week. Like, yeah, some people wouldn't like to do that. But the fact that you had to repeat it 2 times over, it was the exact same problem that Visions had. Is you remember whenever the legendary cloak came out and you got your final like level 15 or whatever of the cloak, and you had to run 4 visions back to back before your raid? That sucks. Like, nobody wants to do that. And that's what the real issue was. I don't think the issue at all had to do with, oh, Torghast, you have to do it once a week. Like, I think that's fine if obviously the content needs to be better, but I don't feel like it would have even received half of the negative feedback if you only had to do it once. I think Blizzard has gotten this fixation around trying to incentivize different types of content, repeating content, by just having new rewards for the same content or just making things take longer. And I think a really good example of that is what they did with the Keystone Master. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So here's what happened with the Keystone Master. Rich, do you know what's going on here?
I actually, you put me into a memory that I had of visions, and I'm just remembering how much fun I had with them back in the day. So,
well, they just doubled the length of the maze. So here's what you have to do.
Oh God.
Yes. So basically, before you just had to complete a 15 of every single dungeon, and that was it. You just do the 15 and that's it. Now you have to get a certain, basically Blizzard put Raider.io into the game. And in the process of putting Raider.io into the game, they have now transformed the meta achievement for getting the mount and just the in general, like the, whatever it's called, like cutting edge. I forgot what it's called, like a conqueror, getting all of the 15s done,
Keystone
basically.
Master, right?
Keystone Master. Wow, I don't know how I forgot about that, but yes, Keystone Master. And what you have to do now is not only do you have to do a 15 on Fortified, but you also have to do the dungeons on Tyrannical too, because they both count for different points.
I will be honest, and Annie, I'm curious how you feel about this. That was one of the things that I actually disliked the most in keys, was the variance between Tyrannical and I feel like that was always something that felt a little bit off to me. It wasn't that either of them, it just felt weird to be thinking about each week changing and not having any control over which one you were doing. That was one of my least favorite things about Keystones.
I want to say real quick.
You go ahead first.
There are some people in chat that think that they're smart because they're correcting me and saying that's not entirely true. You are right. That's not true. Rich, if you still want to get the mount, you can do a +22 or a +23 of Fortified or Tyrannical, and you will be able to get the same amount of credit. But regardless of however you cut this pie, you have to eat almost twice as much of it. And it's the part it's the part of the pie that you didn't want. It's the crust.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was never a huge fan of Mythic Plus. I think it mainly because Warlock has never really been a dungeon class much. It's never been very good in dungeons or very fun in dungeons. You play Affliction and it takes time for the ramp up. Things die before they ramp up. If you play Destruction, it feels a little bit better, but your AoE is kind of on a cooldown, and it just doesn't feel very good. It feels clunky to play a Warlock. So I never got into Mythic Plus. I do, however, try and do one run of each to get my Keystone Master. And now I can no longer do them all at 15 once. Now I have to either do them all at 22 or 23 or 24 once, or I have to do them all on Tyrannical and Fortified. So yeah, I'm not happy, but that's just from a casual point of view. For people who do Mythic Plus, no one likes... Is it Tyrannical?
No one likes Tyrannical because...
No one likes Tyrannical, so why do we have it?
Well, so Blizzard had two options. So basically, Blizzard could have decided to just fix Tyrannical and make it more in line with Fortified, and nerf some of the outstanding harder parts about Tyrannical, and that way make the community happy because nobody was doing Tyrannical. And so how can we get players to do Tyrannical? And this is, again, the Blizzard philosophy. Do we fix Tyrannical or do we force them to do it? Well, we're going to force them to do it. Problem solved. Now people
it's
are
a
doing
little
Tyrannical.
bit like that. That's what I took from it too. It's like, you don't like Tyrannical, we'll make you do it.
I just love watching like there are like a few people in the chat, it's the same names every time, and they're like, well, actually I like it and I can do quite a lot of DPS on it. Just like always jumping in to remind us how good they are at that key.
Well, it's like they're probably playing TBC where all you have to do is span Seed of Corruption and you're going to do like 8,000 DPS.
Oh, like saying like actually Warlock is pretty good. I do it, on plus 25.
Yeah.
Actually, have you tried Demonology? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
What could go wrong? You guys are on camera.
You just don't know how to press your buttons, you casual.
Yeah, of course. I get that all the time.
So I feel like there was a period in time when out of this group of individuals, I was probably the one who was spamming keys the most. Like I was obsessed with keys.
Yeah, I was really sorry to see you do that. I really felt bad for you.
I quit streaming because I wanted to compete in the MDI. I was like, hey, look, you guys can fire me, but you can't keep me from competing unless I live in Canada. So I was very close to like actually trying to do it, and I was having a lot of fun spamming keys. And I will say that the system, I always felt like it was very close to being something that would make me play the game forever and keep a lot of longevity in the game. It had me playing with a group of people that was something I saw as a positive, right? There was like a group of people that I wanted to talk to all the time. And I was like, hey, did you get home from work yet? It would be fun to do some keys right now. And I felt that sense of community coming back in a way that I hadn't felt it in a while. But I think that they've never fully capitalized on making a season a fun thing rather than a chore where you're trying to knock out your achievement. And I feel like the reward structure it's a tough thing to balance, obviously, but it always feels very cannibalistic to rating. And it's not a very exciting thing for me to be like, okay, these are the rewards I want. And if they fix that, I feel like it's obviously a system.
Bro, it's fucking boring. Like, it is boring. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it.
Mythic
like,
Plus?
let's be... Yeah, it's fucking boring. You do the same dungeon. It's got 2 affixes. It's basically the same. You've got you've got the seasonal affix, which honestly, I think the seasonal
that's pretty cool.
They're great.
I think
they are really well
I'm
done.
going to disagree with you though on the boring front for a second because
okay.
And here's the reason I'm going to disagree with you on the boring front. An MMO, for me, as somebody who has gone back and forth during the years, depending on what's going on in my life, being one of the most casual players in the game. I remember when we first started doing Allcraft, and the first time I met Annie, actually. The first time I met Annie walked up to me and she was like, "Aren't you the LFR guy?" And at the time, I was. That was really all I was doing in the game. And
I knew about you.
Yeah, right? I'll never forget the night you came up to me and you're like, "Aren't you the LFR guy?" And I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Asmon's friend." But then there were other times when, my focus was just raiding to like every single night. And I had a bunch of alts in the raid as well. And I was enjoying that aspect of the game. I've gone back and forth. But the one thing that always keeps me happy in an MMO is when I feel like it serves as the background music that allows me to hang out with friends, make new friends, and hang out with people who are somewhere else in the world. And I think Mythic Dungeons are close to being that. Because right now, even when I play Final Fantasy and I'm just standing in the world, and there are a bunch of people around me playing random music, like bards playing random music, and cat girls being like, "Yo, here's some Gil." That feels like an MMO to me more than WoW currently feels like an MMO to me. And I think that Mythic Dungeons are one of the areas in the game that are close to providing that.
I was going to say as well, I'm aware that I'm not of the popular percentage of people when it comes to my opinion on Mythic Plus. I know that a lot of people actually do enjoy Mythic Plus. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it stems from playing a class mainly that is not very fun in dungeons. For me at least, because I did feel that I enjoyed it more when I healed. By the way, I haven't done a single Mythic Plus in my Warlock this expansion. I got Keystone Master on my alt healer instead. But anyways, I have noticed in my community, like communities, even within communities, people enjoying Mythic Plus a lot, and I see them.
I don't know what's wrong with them.
I see them, wanting to push keys every week. Whenever there's new affixes, they start planning things ahead. Like next week is going to be the good affixes. This week is trash. Let's go play Valorant instead or whatever. Like I've seen a lot of people really enjoy and having a somewhat of a schedule where they do enjoy pushing themselves to get a better score or whatever they're doing. But I think this whole thing, even me just passively hearing that, I can hear from people how much they dislike the Tyrannical week. I remember when I was talking to Nagura as well.
Yeah.
And she was, when we were going to plan to play some games together, she's like, well, this is the Mythic Plus week. And then the next week, there's like nothing going on, no one does Tyrannical, then we can play like whatever, And I just feel like if everyone plans their gameplay, like including streamers who main top end, PvE, and not just the people who could be considered casual, like people in my community, if everyone plans it like that to just not play during that week, maybe it's time to just remove it, But instead we got a scoring system that kind of, yeah.
What's weird about it is, you want to hear an unpopular opinion? I think the pacing of Tyrannical is better than the pacing of Fortified. I think Tyrannical is the way that the game should be played. I hate the idea that the trash packs are what you want to focus on and you just zerg down the boss. Fuck that. Like, I think the bosses should be like, you get up to the boss and it's like, okay, all right, focus up. If you get hit by anything, he's going to kill you. Like, that's, I think, like more of the dungeon fantasy in my mind. And I've actually disliked the way that they focus much more on trash mechanics and trash pulls and stuff like that. I use trash. That's the time where I go AFK. That's the time I go get a drink. I come back. All right, now we're at the boss. Thank God, guys. Send me up to the boss. I don't want to walk over to him. And like, that's what I like to do. So it's like having the Fortified weeks is like, oh my God, now we have to worry about that mechanic the trash mob is going to do. And we've got to CC this guy. It's like, oh, geez. This is so much work.
Maybe the culture was breeded. Maybe the culture anti-tyrannical was breeded from the fact that you were just simply able to do higher keys on Fortified, right? That is why, right? It was easier, so then they started enjoying it more. So maybe with this scoring system and giving more incentive to actually show that you can be good at tyrannical and have a different list to show that, maybe it could actually be a good thing then.
I think maybe it could be as long as the reward, but you didn't lock Keystone Master behind it. I think that kind of sucks. But other than that,
that part I agree. Like the people who just wanted to do everything at plus 15 should be able to just do everything at 15.
It doesn't really seem like it's that hard because you're just basically multiplying the amount of work that they have to do by at least like 1.5 times. But for me, like, again, I'll get it done no matter what. I actually, as I said, I enjoy Tyrannical dungeons more. I think that they're more fulfilling to me rather than just like, oh man, we cleared that big trash pack. Oh, we really did so well on that trash pack. Who cares? Like, I want to kill a badass boss. Like, that's what I care about. But either way, I think it's just as simple as what you said. The Tyrannical is just harder. And so people don't want to do it because it's harder.
Yeah, it's like not worth the effort.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was no reward for doing it before, whereas now you have a score for it. So maybe it does pick up in that case.
I do hope it improves. Absolutely. I mean, I've actually heard that the Final Fantasy raids don't have any trash at all. Is that right? Except for a couple of the dungeons?
I heard the same. So I haven't really done raids yet. I'm still leveling. I've done smaller like trials, I guess, which are basically a full-on boss fight with no trash before it. Kind of like McTheridan, but no trash before the boss fight.
Yeah.
And it's really cool, actually. And from what I hear that the raids later on are also trashless. If there's any trash, it's very, very few.
That's so interesting.
Thank you, Rich,
Why are you
for your
laughing?
contribution. There's literally no reason for him to be laughing. It's just there's literally absolutely no reason, but he does it anyway. It's a game that he plays on Allcraft with chat. It happens every fucking week, and it just yeah, there it is. And so anyway, what level are you in Final Fantasy? Like, how many hours you put into it? Like, how's it going for you?
So I'm level 53, and today I just completed 2.2 patch of ARR. So I'm still in the A Realm Reborn part. I haven't reached Heavensward yet.
That's the part that sucks, right?
Yes.
But
it's still pretty fun. It's just really in a lot of ways like very slow has been my experience. What job did you end up going with? Because it's actually funny. One of the things that I wanted to jump in and say is on the key front, fellow warlock, I actually ended up, there were some times that I dabbled with the warlock in keys, but I actually ended up switching to Demon Hunter and then was just multi-class. Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden I could handle my rotation and
because it feels better, right? Like you go in there and you're just hitting everything and it feels good and rewarding. As a warlock, you're standing there and it's like, yeah. And that was that was one of the things that I think made keys more enjoyable for me. And to go off of what Asmon was saying too, sorry, because Asmon was talking about actually looking at the bosses and having them be the big challenge inside the dungeon. One of the things that Blizzard did that I thought was very cool is the fact that different dungeons had different philosophies, where it was like, okay, this is a big trash dungeon and you need to be focusing on getting these big trash pulls. And this one, maybe you're going to focus a little bit more on the bosses and it feels more like a gauntlet or something like that. I thought that was something that was very cool, but then it became unfortunate because classes didn't feel like every class had a home in particular dungeons. You know what I mean? And that's been something with Final Fantasy that I think feels pretty good so far. But like you, Annie, I'm not at endgame yet. I think you do feel like you can play pretty much whatever you want to, besides a bard, unless you're in town. It seems like every other job is bards are actually so cool. Like they actually play so good music.
Look at this. This is the new official Final Fantasy XIV trailer, Hot Dragon Man. I believe it's.
Oh my god!
Hot Dragon Man.
Hot Dragon.
So I just checked my playtime, and my playtime is 6 days and 8 hours. So you would think that I'm slow, but I'm actually just really fast at the game. I'm just taking my time, you know. I tend to do everything that I see. I plan to progress my main story quest line, but then I see a blue little mark like, hey, there's something to unlock here. And then I see
quests?
No. Well, I skip side quests, but I do all quests that unlock something.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference. Like the blue ones.
Yep.
Yeah, so I do anything that unlocks a class or unlocks a trial, unlocks a hard trial, extreme trial. I just unlocked Coils of Bahamut today. And then I've picked up all professions. So I have all crafting and gathering professions. I've gotten my mining up to 30. So it's almost as high as my main class. I've gotten a bunch of classes up there basically. So I'm playing in a very I guess completionist way. So that's why I'm kind of slow. Like that's why I'm level 53. But don't tell people I admitted that I'm slow.
53
I've been 53
MSQ,
for like 3
or
days.
Are you 53 MSQ, or are you 53 on your job? I don't know how
I think
high
my
the
MSQ is kind of the same as my job. I think they're around the same level.
Okay.
Maybe MSQ is 50 actually, because I'm still in 2.2.
That's not how it works, Rich. I understand that that's potentially not how it works. That's why I was asking though, because I still don't know.
I think because I'm still doing ARR, I think I'm still MSQ 50. But because I'm getting like almost no experience doing the ARR quests. I'm already maxed experience wise.
Yeah.
But I'm 53 because the small quests
What's the max level?
Added up. The max level is 80.
Shit, you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest. Like as soon as I start this game, I'm gonna no life the fuck out of it. Like I wanna play the shit out of this game, beat it, and then complain that there's no new content. Like that's my goal. Like that's what I do every game.
Are you planning to do all aspects of it?
I'll beat the shit out of the game. I mean, like the thing is, there's gonna be some like loser content, you know, like if it's like making, you know, silk dresses, I'm not gonna do that. But like,
I'll do it for you.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And you want to wear them too?
Hey, dude, I'll talk to you on this show, all right?
Okay.
But hey, dude, I already planned on leveling with you Astrologian. Yeah. I'm gonna take my glamour. Is that what they're called? No, my Fantasia. I'm gonna drink down a Fantasia. I have it all planned. July 3rd?
Yeah, so when you complete ARR, you're given a potion of Fantasia, which then allows you to change your race once.
Viera waits for you, Asmon.
Bro,
I don't know if you know the song.
That's the only one I know about.
I am going to be your liege. I'm going to be your, or no. The other one. I'm going to be your concubine. I'm going to be a Viera Astrologian, and I'm going to heal you throughout every single quest. I'm going to level a new job. I'm going to be a mute. I'm just going to follow you around. I'm going to hop in your shadow, healing you up. I'm so excited, man.
I want to get into the game. I want to, like, I saw some of the weapons. I'm going to play a Dark Knight.
Oh, I've seen 100%. Those too.
And I'm going to go in there with the boys, and we're going to beat the shit out of those raids.
Oh,
like, that's what I'm ready to do.
I think you need to level a certain amount to unlock the
like
Dark
35
Knight.
Or something like that's what told me.
Okay, as long as you're aware. Yeah.
So basically every single thing in like all of the jobs, you do a quest to unlock them. Man, you can tell I've been back in New York for a little while. My Texas accent's completely disintegrated, and now it's like completely New York again. Yeah. But yeah, did you end up playing Summoner as a Warlock, or did you play something else,
yes.
Annie?
I did.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm playing Summoner, and that's my main thing that I'm doing now. I did try out, so at 50, I unlocked, Red Mage and Samurai. So I tried them a little bit, but then it's always just easier to go back to the thing that you're used to when the main like idea is to get through the quests and everything. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Summoner for now.
Yeah, I'm going to go Summoner, Samurai, Black Mage, Astrologian.
I want Black Mage too. Black Mage has to start from level 1, so it kind of feels like reprogressing a little bit.
Yeah.
So for now, I'm waiting with it, but I want to play that too. Apparently, that's the big boom explosion class.
Did you see their limit break? That's the thing that made me want to play Black Mage. Is that their limit break looks so cool.
I didn't see it, but I've heard that it's the big boom, so I really want to play it.
I am a Final Fantasy like loser now. Like I'm actually like
you guys are talking about like all this bullshit. Like let's get into the raids. Like where's the boss? Like there's this one boss that they showed. I look at it and he had like a giant sword, and you got to fight against him whenever he's dropping the giant sword on you. I think that's cool as hell,
dude.
Like, that's what I want to do.
I've been, since I started playing Final Fantasy, like places where I used to feel wanted, I don't feel wanted anymore. Like I was watching an Aiden Ross stream the other day, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get beat up. I almost got stuffed in a locker. I actually had to turn it off. I had to turn off my whole PC because I just didn't want him to L nerd me, man. Final Fantasy's completely hijacked my brain. I love it so much. I'm very excited for the storytelling after I get out of ARR, because it seems like people are very optimistic about the pacing of that storytelling once you get into all of the expansions.
Did you play through the story?
No, I actually am unlocking Summoner today. Everything that I know about Summoner is just from the videos I've watched. I've been waiting to unlock Summoner until today. And tonight, I actually might do a 24-hour stream. I haven't decided yet.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I just I just haven't had enough time to play because we've been working on a bunch of stuff for OTK, and today through Saturday are my big blast days.
So you've been playing Arcanist, and then you're gonna get Summoner now. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just hit 30 on Summoner. Just got my Chocobo. Gifted my 4 subs. Got my fat black Chocobo in the mail. NBD ready to go.
Nice.
Yeah. I got about 5,000 eggs in my inventory. I'm ready to go all night.
5,000 eggs?
Yeah. I got the strats.
What do the eggs do?
They give you extra experience, and you eat 2 of them at a time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the interesting thing is, any food in the game gives you experience. So I have smoked chickens, and I guess you've got.
It's not like you buy it from the store and you get like the experience boost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Okay. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I would definitely do that. That's awesome.
You know what's cool, Asmon? So this is, you pay for this. It is a paid service, but I actually think the way that it's implemented. No, not the food. The Fantasia system. I actually think the Fantasia system is pretty. So you know how Asmon, how you only need to level 1 character and then you can level all the jobs on it?
Yeah.
Well, if like 1 week, if you're feeling like, if you're feeling a little bit frisky and you want to be a cat boy, you take the Fantasia. And you can pre-buy all the Fantasia and just have it in your inventory, and you can just change whenever you want. You'd be like, man, like I really like how this hat looks. Just suck down the Fantasia. You're a Lalafell.
Paying for a race change, right? But it's then made as an item in the game.
It's an item, yes, and you can have them forever.
It's pretty cool.
So you can have you never know when you're gonna need one. You keep like 100 in your bag, and you're just like, man, and then you're like, man, I really don't like how my bunny ears look right now. Suck down another one, and bam, you're Dragon Man. I'm telling you, man, this game's
crazy. Like, I'm honestly, you know what I'm gonna play? Human Warrior. That's right.
Yeah, that's what you say until you log in, and then when you make eye contact with the Vieira, I imagine it's what it's like. You know how people say that, like, man, the day you have a baby, you look that baby in the eyes and everything changes. Like, you know who you are. You're a father now. I had an experience like that. I finally knew who I was once I made eye contact with a Vieira. I was like, wait, this is me.
Wow.
Look, dude, I'm not about the cat girl shit, dude. Like, I'm about, like, I want to have, like, a big-ass suit of armor with a giant two-handed sword, walking around, killing things, doing what I need to do. None of that bullshit, dude.
They're not cat girls, okay? They're bunny girls.
Yeah, I know. There's one of each. I'm fully aware of that.
You know what's really funny?
Yeah.
In the game, every now and then you'll be talking to a human in the game, and she's got bunny ears on. And it's like a knockoff Vieira. You're like, you imposter, kind of sussy. I'm serious, man. You'll see.
You can have that as glam. That's funny.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta pay attention. You don't want to get duped. It's the Vieira equivalent to a toupee, which honestly, never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Go ahead. You want to do it? You want to go ahead? You want to go finish that? All right. Listen, I'm just saying, like, I think that a lot of that stuff, like all the cosmetic stuff, does really matter a lot. And it's one of the things that, like, in Shadowlands, right, whenever they added in all the new cosmetics, I was really happy about that. Like, that was really cool. They changed all the new appearances. You can make your character look different, etc. I really like that, being able to customize your character and everything like that. Especially maybe make it look like you, or, make it look like a bunny girl, or whatever the hell you want to do. I actually saw a video today that they have brothels in Final Fantasy. Rich, did you know about that?
Of course, Rich knows.
Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about that video, man. I sent that to you in the DMs, direct message. But yeah, no, Annie, I saw that you had a lot of fun with the customization of your retainer.
Yeah, retainers. They're actually on this show right now.
What the hell's a retainer?
Wait, what did the Asmon one look like?
Well, you didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it. I saw the one that looked like me, and I'm not gonna lie. You did me kind of dirty, but I will say, to back me up for just a second, Annie, we've hung out in real life. Can you just tell everybody, because the stream keeps acting like I'm really short? Can you tell them that it's just the camera that makes me look short, and that I'm actually pretty tall?
Yeah. Look at him. He's actually so tall, guys.
He's a big guy.
He's taller than me, It's crazy.
I am
always
taller
meet
than
people
you.
who are taller than me. So yeah. True. I'm 5'2", by the way.
Rich is at least 5'3".
At least.
I mean, he
was taller than me, so he has to be at least 5'2".
What is
Yeah, of course.
Search? You have to put the W. Put Rich W Campbell height, and I'm sure something will come up.
I'm actually curious. Yeah, I'm actually curious what this is going to be. Wait, they literally took your tweet where you said you're 6 foot.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
That's
wow.
Google. That's Google. That's literally Google. You can trust it.
I mean, you can't argue with their search engine. I mean, come on, it's the best out there, right?
It's optimized. It's optimized for.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. Well, like I guess like. Edit? Oh, what the. Oh no. So like, all right. So basically he was over there. This is a story. So Rich was over at S-Fan's house. He was staying over there and Fendi came over and everybody was making fun of how short he was. So he started getting toilet paper rolls and stacking them up in front of each other.
Those are toilet paper rolls?
Yeah. He got all of S. He's like, S-Fan, where's your toilet paper? And S-Fan thinks that, Rich is going to drop like the meanest shit ever or something like that. And he gets like an entire box of toilet paper and stacks it up and is trying to convince his chat that he's not 5'2". And this went on for like what, Rich? 2 hours?
It wasn't quite 2 hours.
Actually, it's been going on now for 2 years.
Yeah. Also, after the whole
toilet paper what the hell?
Yeah. I am looking for a roommate in Austin after that one. So if anybody's looking for, definitely DM me. Need to find a new place to live, and I will go half and half on the toilet paper. Okay. Mm-hmm. But hey, look, they clearly cut off. They cut off my feet, which I think makes me look a little bit shorter.
But they gave you new feet.
I think that proves that I'm at least 5'7", which really isn't a bad size. It's Brad Pitt size, and he's famous. Speaking of famous, you know what else is getting quite famous around here? Talk about AOC and New World. And Annie, my question for you is, obviously you made the jump to Final Fantasy. You're still getting used to it. You're still starting to play that game. You're learning a lot about it. Any of these new MMOs coming up, do they also get you excited for the potential of a new experience?
Yeah, so I always had this view that because I spend so much time playing World of Warcraft, there's no point me playing any other MMORPG because I'm essentially wasting my time when I need to spend time in WoW. Not just wasting time, just I have no time was my thinking. And now that I kind of got into Final Fantasy, it has opened my eyes to try other MMOs too. So before, I had zero plans to try Ashes of Creation, New World, or anything. The only extent that I knew of anything would be when streamers talked about it. I never looked up anything. I was not interested in playing any betas. But now I am interested because why not? And I think me being interested and more people being interested in general is also what would ultimately, potentially, hopefully, improve WoW as well, right? Because I think the more people are interested in more games, the more popular and relevant other games become, the more pressure Blizzard has to improve their own game too. So if you are planning to continue playing WoW, then it's good to have that pressure on Blizzard as well, so that they can improve their game.
I'm going to say something negative right now. I hope that this doesn't like upset anyone, and I hope that I'm wrong. I will say, I think you can put all the pressure on Blizz in the world. I think you could show them the exact formula that would make WoW a better game, and I just don't think that they're capable of fixing World of Warcraft anymore. When you look at the track record of Blizzard in the past, they were fantastic at taking whatever was perfect, or not perfect, whatever like the best mechanics were in a game, the best of a genre, and then they would take it and they would polish it even further. And they would define a genre, not with new ideas, but with polish and an understanding, a critical playthrough of what else was on the marketplace. Right now, I don't think that they have the eyes. I don't think that they understand what makes a video game fun. And I do not think Blizzard will ever put out a good video game again. I think that the studio is essentially dead. I hope that I'm wrong.
Don't you think they don't improve because they don't think they need to?
No, I think that they don't improve because they're incapable. They're incapable.
I think that they're genuinely. I think like not every part. Like obviously, like the art team is great. The people that make the music for the game are incredible. And then there are also like I think the raids in general are very high quality too. But whenever you talk about like systems and rewards designers, like whoever is running that part of the show.
But that's where I was thinking that too.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if you remember
what they're doing.
I don't know if you remember, like with the artifact system and was it artifact or just many systems in general? Whenever we as a community have given feedback, they're like, no, just wait and see. Then you're going to see it play out and it's going to work, right? Like I feel like we've seen them say that, and isn't that potentially telling that they just think they know and they go ahead with their plan and don't listen to people because they think they know best?
Well, not only go ahead, sorry.
So I was just thinking, if they see that, hey, like these other games are suddenly becoming more relevant, maybe we need to actually start considering people's opinions.
No, and I think that's the worst thing, is that I don't think Blizzard should just immediately listen to the player base and do exactly what the player base wanted. Here's a great example of Blizzard being able to listen to what the player base wants and give them what they need. And season 3 of BFA, there was a huge problem with rogues being able to abuse Shroud of Concealment, and it allowed them to bypass a bunch of packs, and it made the entire MDI and the competition very formulaic, and you had a bunch of people around there. Everybody was asking Blizzard to remove Shroud of Concealment in BFA and in Mythic Plus. And what Blizzard did is they added the Awakened affix to completely change the game and made that unnecessary. And I think that is an example of incredible game design and Blizzard knowing what they're doing. But the problem nowadays is that you don't see changes like that. And I think that you're absolutely right, Annie, because Blizzard literally admitted that that's what they did with Azerite armor. They said that, well, the players, there it is. And Blizzard said that, well, the players haven't fully seen the system, so they don't know if they're going to like it or not. And I always think of my, there's a picture, and it was like a meme of a guy who's leaning over and he's about to take a shit on somebody's plate. And then the guy says, what are you doing? Why are you going to shit on my plate? And the guy says back to him that's about to, he says, how do you know it's shit? It's not even out yet. And that's what Blizzard has been doing. That's what it is that they've been so naive to believe that players cannot see what's coming. Everybody sees that this is coming. It's like, it's the same with many of these systems. And the same stuff is going to happen. And it takes like, and it's like a meme at this point. It's like everybody's been memeing around with Shadowlands that, oh, well, they're going to pull the ripcord at 9.3.5. It's the same as what they did. They applied the changes that they wanted, that people wanted to legendaries and Legion in 7.3.5. It's like, I think that that's why people are fed up. That's why people are mad, at least like for me personally, is I'm sick of beta testing bad systems for arbitrary periods of time and then having catch-up mechanisms, randomly added in whenever Blizzard feels like they've siphoned off enough of player engagement metrics and wasted enough people's time, and now they're tired of it. So now it's like, okay, I guess now we'll make the system work properly. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm sick of playing bad systems whenever they come out. I want the system to be good on release. And also, to Blizzard's credit, the Korthia skip, is a system that was good on release. So I'm glad that they at least did that.
Sure.
They let you not play the content that they made. Woo! No, I'm just kidding. It was a good thing, but in general, you know, I think one of the biggest indicators of a good game developer is listening, but then doing something different. And it's going to sound a little bit weird, but if you, for example, have an entire audience, okay, actually, this is what I'll say. If you sneeze,
asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yeah, exactly.
What they need and not what they want.
Yes. If somebody goes into the doctor and they say, I have a sneeze, the doctor figures out what is actually wrong and then fixes it. They don't fix the sneeze. And that is what a game developer needs to be doing with their system. And World of Warcraft either says, the devs on World of Warcraft, in my opinion, either say, you're wrong, or they say, okay, yeah, we'll change it. And there really isn't very often something that pops up in the exact middle. But when they hit the middle is usually when I think that they are right.
Yeah, I think sometimes they are right. Sometimes they do know what's going on. Absolutely. But it's not really that often. And I think they miss more often than they hit. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is that you can't, like, Blizzard listening to the player base and just doing what the player base wants is not always the right decision. Sometimes it is, but I think almost sometimes maybe it's usually not the right decision. And I think that, again, like the Awakened affix is a good example of giving players what they need and not what they want, and being able to identify the disease and not the symptom. And I think, for example, like a solo queue, I can use this for PvP. There's been a big outcry of solo queue. I think solo queue is a symptom and not the disease. The disease is that PvPers don't have a reason to interact with each other socially regularly. And the social shared spaces that PvPers have had in the past are gone. So now they're just sitting around in Ouroboros, adding each other on BattleNet that's limited to 200 people for no reason. And then that's it. They don't actually interact with each other in any sort of organic way whatsoever. So
do you think solo queue is good for the game?
I don't know. I think that honestly, there's so many people that want it. I think Blizzard could add it in as a brawl and just see what happens. That's
the last time that I said that I didn't think solo queue is an idea, another content creator said he wanted to drag his nuts across my chin. So I'm going to pick my words. I'm going to pick my words very wisely here.
Well, I'll say I actually don't think it's necessarily a good idea. Because I think it's very biased to certain classes doing better, and I think we want a better LFG, right? We want a better system to find players to play with. We want the game to stay social. We complain that LFG becoming a thing in Wrath, but then we want solo queue. Like I feel like it's kind of asking for things that we have before said is not good for the community. At least that's how I feel. I think it's worth testing, like you said, as a brawl. But I do think that it's generally not really a fix of anything.
I don't think it's going to be a fix either. I think the fundamental problem is PvPers have no reason to interact with each other. And they used to have, you remember, like back in the day, right? You go outside of Ironforge and you duel with the boys. And then you go outside of Stormwind and you duel with the boys. It's funny for me, right? Because like I was about to say grew up on Kel'Thuzad, but I was on Kel'Thuzad back in Cataclysm, and a lot of the legends that we know from PvP today were out there dueling. Like you would see people like Mitch Jones out there dueling. You would see people like Swifty for a while, I think, was over there dueling. And there were other people that were just like these really well-known rank 1, like multi-rank 1 gladiators that would just be out there dueling. And that was so cool because people got to interact with each other, and I would duel people and then I'd beat them or they'd beat me, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, will you play with me? And you have that organic interaction. And I think that's one thing that the game in general has lost out a lot on. And you don't have those reasons and those motivations to go out and seek social interaction beyond just, I'm going to tag this rare that everybody else is hitting, and then I'm going to walk away. Because realistically, whenever you're killing a rare with 30 other people, they might as well be NPCs. It doesn't really matter what they do. You have no interaction with them. You don't have to plan anything out because all of the rares are just basically target dummies. And then after it's done, you just walk away and you never talk to anybody. It's actually it's a deceptively antisocial system. Because now not only do you not have to group up, but you can just sit there without any communication at all and get the rewards. And this is an MMO. And I think that that's
there's a lack of shared space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of people struggle finding PvP partners. People have asked me a lot about, potential discords or communities to join, and there are some, but they're not very known, I guess. And I think people who actually legitimately are trying to improve and maybe get certain achievements for the first time, maybe 1.8k, 2k, or whatever. I think those people, if something like solo queue is introduced, I think it'll get harder for those people to find people in the LFG system because nobody will be bothered to search or find partners. They'll just solo queue.
You know what's rough about WoW right now? So many of the communities that aren't difficult to find are about being a total elitist. It's like, okay, like this is how you're the best player ever. Listen to me because I am the best player ever. And the people that kind of run a lot of the community, some of them are just incredibly smart people. Some of the other ones are trying to prove something to themselves. And all of the communities are based around that. And I think that that's why there are so many furries in WoW. Like, I'm not even joking right now, because those are the communities that actually have fun. Like, those are the only bastions left for like a good time. I'm not a part of those communities, but
Sure.
all of the I'm not. I'm not. But those seem to be the only people that are still having fun left in the game, because everybody else is just trying way too hard to like prove something to themselves. Like the amount of times that I read how to be the best at pressing Frostbolt in classic WoW, things like that, where, let's just have fun. Let's experience the old raids again. Let's just go out into the world and play together. So yeah, I think that, that's why WoW is being taken over by furries potentially.
I think, for example, like if you look at servers like Moonguard and other more RP-based servers, I think those servers are much more resilient towards content droughts, because the players are the content. Like the truth is, like, we've always had content droughts in WoW. Like I remember at the end of Burning Crusade, there was a big content drought. There was nothing that happened for quite a while, but it didn't really matter because you were still playing with your friends. It's the same thing in ICC too. But now content droughts are felt so much more closely because you're able to see that, you run out of content, you're not interacting with your friends. And so the content for the game is actually the game, which is, I think, a bad thing.
Yeah. I also, we just have so much more offered to us now. Mm-hmm. It's like, first it was, not to get like political or anything, but first it was just like food, right? And we all got fat. Now we're like mentally fat with video games. We're just overstimulated all the time. A new video game comes out every 10 seconds that you can download on your phone, and you can just constantly get that rush of dopamine. So when you have some of the slow burn games, I just think we also have audiences that aren't primed to invest into an experience.
Bro, look at Valheim.
And how long did we play Valheim for? I think Valheim was
for 200 hours.
It was a quick experience. Like, I feel like people blasted through it. Like, yes, you played it for 200 hours. I feel like most people probably put in around 100 over the course of a week or two, and then they were done and they'll never play it again. And I think that that's fine. I think that there are a lot of experiences like that. I think I probably put in a little bit less time than you. I think I put in around 100 to 120 hours, and I had a complete experience. I still think about that game, and I have no intentions to play Valheim anytime soon. I still consider it one of my favorite games.
Valheim was really fun.
That's good. Yeah, I remember, like, that's good. The thing is, like, a game, I feel like a lot of these developers and people fall into the trap of thinking that the game has to have this infinite content that gets you addicted to it forever. And I really don't like that. I like the idea that you play the game, you get involved with the game, and then after a while, you finish the content, and then you leave. It's the same with Path of Exile. And also, the Final Fantasy developers have said the exact same thing. Yeah. They're totally okay with people playing the content and then moving on.
Take breaks,
yeah. That was how my ex-girlfriend actually treated our relationship, and she seems a lot happier now.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so it works for everybody. That's exactly what I mean.
I think that's what's missing with WoW, because things like the 6-month subscription campaign, I think, is showing that a lot, and also the time gating in general. You log in today, but there's things you can't do. You have to come back in a week, and then at that point, again, you reach a wall. You have to wait for the next week, And I think that's also a big part of why people feel frustrated, especially if they did take a large or a longer break before this patch.
Mhm.
They log in and then they realize, well, there's a wall. I can't continue. And I think that's really bad as well for people's perception of how they're being treated by the devs because they're being limited in gameplay.
There's like arbitrary throttling mechanisms that exist in the game just only to just waste your time. And I think that players, and this is the thing, right, is that people nowadays are so much smarter than they used to be with video games. Like, they can tell whenever they're getting fucked around. And I think that it's very clear that, especially like if you look at how like vitriolic people are about like some different types of systems and things like that, people are just way smarter nowadays, and they'll see through the same stuff that people would eat up maybe 10 years ago. And I think that that's also 100%. And people are much more cynical. They're much more focused on, you know, like knowing and understanding how the gameplay loop works. The entire vocabulary around talking about games is different. And I think that's a huge factor.
Well, and I think the devs think that we are still over there, like 5-10 years ago. Like, well, sometimes I think that's the part where they think it's okay to just, you know, release another 6-month mount and it's fine. We'll do this again in 6 months. See you later.
I think, honestly, that a lot of the devs that are working on the game are probably interns that drank the Kool-Aid and didn't get fired, and now they're here and they really don't know what they're doing, if I'm going to be completely honest. I don't mean to shit on anyone, but I guess I just did. But it's actually funny. One of the things that...
no offense, but...
Yeah, no offense, but you're not doing a great job. But when I actually... talk about this was something really interesting. I actually heard it in a lecture one time. They were discussing kind of how humans just over time get better at games because other people have put in the work. Like if you look at a chess player today, they're not starting at square zero when they pick up the game. They're not completely fresh because somebody else has already put in 10,000 hours into the game. So they start by learning from them. And that's just kind of the human experience in general. It's not just with games. And when you get to video games now,
Olympic records too, even with like physical things.
Right. Yeah. The mile story that we talk about all the time. Right.
Oh, yeah.
The second that people realized it was possible, now they're able to do it. And with video games, the exchange of information is even faster because if I want to watch WoW players play the game, I can watch their experiences live on Twitch and then hear them actually break it down. So we're just able to exchange that information and play games like humans a lot faster than ever before. And that changes the dynamic to a large scale.
Well, it's collaborative. And because of that, people just get better at games way faster. People are able to figure things out way faster. It's the same thing as like, I think Classic WoW is the best example of this. The way people play Classic WoW is so much different than the way that people used to play Classic WoW. And I think a big reason for that is the fact that all of those people know everything about the game now. And they're able to share that information. And if there's something that's discovered, everybody knows about it the next day. It's like, imagine like what the secrets in WoW would be like, how long it would take for those to be discovered if those secrets came out in 2006.
I mean, I was thinking about it the other day as well, going back, obviously, the quest lines that we have, all the different attunements, we know about them now, right? And if we don't, we quickly Google them. Or we have an add-on that tells us all the different steps. And I kind of missed the idea of this mystery of not knowing that. Like imagine you're playing in TBC, you're doing these quest lines, and suddenly someone in your guild or whatever has unlocked this new raid, right? And then everyone's talking about it, like, whoa, like how did that happen? And I want to do it too. And we don't have that type of mystery anymore around games, and it's just not just Classic. I think it's with almost any game. Things happen very fast. I mean, we saw it with Fortnite too. Fortnite. First, everyone built the ramp up and the wall, right? And that was it. And then they watched these tournaments where they're building little houses and put it together into mansions. And then suddenly, every random casual player is building mansions as soon as they see you.
It's called cranking 90s, actually. Yeah.
It's just we're adapting and learning so fast that it's sometimes I think difficult also for a lot of game devs and players alike to just keep up with it, and it does take away a lot of the mystery and that type of enjoyment from games.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I definitely think so. I feel like a lot of those things have just kind of, people have just gotten way better. And because they've gotten so much better, it makes it super hard for anybody to like really compete unless they're taking advantage of that metagaming too. And it just makes it to where like metagaming becomes the norm. Everybody metagames now because of how many people there are that are just doing it constantly. I think that's a huge factor.
It's also why I think you're seeing an even larger boom right now. It's obviously been a popular genre for a very long time, but a lot of roguelikes are super in vogue. You have games like Hades, you have games like Slay the Spire. A lot of these games are really popular right now, and I think one of the reasons for that is you can study the meta. You can learn what different items are going to do, how high their priority might be if you actually have a choice, or how good a card's going to be in the game. But every time you're having that unique experience where you have to apply that knowledge instead of just copy pasta whatever your favorite streamer did and crank 90s and just shoot down. So I think that having those elements of RNG in gameplay and not in rewards is something that is really important for the future of games.
I definitely agree with that. I really do. I mean, I'm really looking forward to, as I said, like playing these other games like New World. Annie, did you ever play the New World alpha?
No.
Or the demo?
No, I didn't play.
Oh man,
I didn't play
you missed
them
out.
because
That was good.
my mindset was I'm not gonna play another MMORPG anyways. Like, why waste
Yeah.
my time? But in hindsight, like now with how I'm thinking currently, I would try it.
Annie, have you ever tried old school RuneScape by any chance?
No, I haven't.
I actually would really. So this is the mental notes that I have taken right now before we completely dive in and talk about New World. The mental notes that I've taken for the next time that we have you on Allcraft. I want to definitely check in with your end game experience with Final Fantasy to see how you feel about different things, with how often you can raid, how the rewards feel, things like that. And then also, I want to check in to see if you ever end up playing old school RuneScape, because I think you would like it a lot. And then also, I want to hear your opinions on games like New World. New World is similar to me in the ways that I enjoyed it with old school RuneScape, because it felt very satisfying to skill and the combat wasn't all the way there. It's definitely a different experience than WoW, which is what I like about it too.
When you say skill, do you mean professions or?
Yeah, so when it's not just professions, like everything in New World. So you have like a lot of weapon based things that you need to pay attention to. Like your weapons are going to have their own levels and their own skill trees that you can be working with. And then also, like you said, with professions, like Asmon went out into the world and he was just chopping down trees all day long. And that progression, it sounds so dumb when you say it out of context.
Well, here's what it was, Annie. Rich isn't explaining it right. So we went up and we fought against, it was like a raid boss. It was a bear. And then next to the bear, there was a blue tree. A blue tree.
Blue.
And like,
Rich, you forgot that it was blue?
It was a blue tree.
It was blue.
And I was like,
and it was hard. It was a hard blue tree.
It was so hard. And you needed 200 lumber working to even be able to cut that tree down, to even think about cutting that tree down. And then like my lumber working at that point was like level 30. I said to myself, I'm gonna cut this fucking tree down.
That tree was so hard you had to look away.
Yeah, I went back, and for hours off stream, I sat there and I cut down trees, hour after hour after hour. And you know what? After probably 10 hours, I cut down that fucking blue tree. I cut that bitch down. I got it.
Damn.
So,
was that part on stream?
It sure was.
I was in Ukraine when the beta had come out, and we were getting ready to launch OTK. Like we didn't have a name. We couldn't figure out a name. So we were working nonstop to try to figure out a name. And I was like, yo, Asmon, do you have any ideas? He's like, 1 second, stupid ass tree. And it was just Asmon chopping down trees the whole time. And I don't know. Maybe he had wood on the mind. Maybe that's why we ended up with OTK. I don't know.
I think it's amazing. This whole like profession thing as well. That's why I've also been doing, I think they call it logging in Final Fantasy, logging and botany. How do you pronounce that?
Botany, yeah.
Botany. Okay.
Bonnie, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the gathering professions. I'm enjoying just looking through the logs. So they have a log system, hunting log and gathering log, where you have to. So if it's the hunting log, you have to kill a certain mob 3 times, and then you complete that part. You get experience for it. In the gathering log, you have to like gather all the different kinds from all these different zones, and I'm just loving the whole completion aspect of it, that I'm just slowly but surely going through each one of those. And sometimes people come to my stream, they're like, hey, has Annie has Annie discovered the hunting log? And I'm like, if I've discovered, like, I've completed it. And then I just have to keep going into new ones, because they have this for each and every job. So you have to go and kill all these things as summoner, then you have to go and kill them as Dark Knight, as Marauder, as anything. You have to go and kill all of those things as each one of those. And then you have the gathering log as well. There's just so many parts of the game that you have to keep collecting. And I think that's the part that's really drawn me in and makes me continue playing. And that's also why I'm stuck at level 53.
And that's one of the reasons why I think that you'll like a lot of these skilling games. And, you know, you play old school RuneScape and you ask somebody the reason that they're doing it, like a certain thing in the game. It's like, because I want to be 99.
It just looks so bad,
and that's fine. You know, maybe that's enough to make you not enjoy the game. You know, art's obviously a very important thing to me. I still kind of do. I like how old school RuneScape's better than Final Fantasy, and I'm having a lot of fun with Final Fantasy. But I think over time I'll probably learn to love the art even more of Final Fantasy. For example, I remember the first time I played PoE. I literally told Asmon probably remembers this. I can't remember if I actually said it to Asmon or McConnell. I was like, this game is so ugly. I do not want to play PoE at all. And now I have I have so many microtransactions in that game. I think that the game looks awesome. I think for me,
Rich, you're like the professional microtransactionist.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
It's so funny.
Somebody's got to do it.
Is this character meant to look like Asmongold?
He just does. That's Bob the Bot, and he just happens to look exactly like Asmon. But yeah, look, I read Plato's Symposium, and you know, in Plato's Symposium, not only do they talk about the beings of sun and the beings of moon, and how they attach their bodies together and roll around on 8 legs, but they also talk about how the true lover, a lover who has a lot of experience, can find beauty in any person based off of experience, you know? And that's how I am with video games and their art styles. It just takes me a little bit of time of loving up on the game, and then any art style I'll be able to get into. Final Fantasy, you know, I like the bunny girls and I like the skill effects, but I still got to learn how to love how the world looks right now. I think that you could do the same thing with old school.
Oh, like you're not a fan of how the world looks?
No, I don't like it yet. I actually don't like how the world looks yet, but I'm a fan of the game, right? But just being completely honest, I think WoW.
No, I definitely see what you mean. I mean, sometimes how something looks, once you get used to it, it becomes better. So like the first thing, it feels a bit repelling, but then you get used to it, and then it's not as bad. So I can definitely understand that. I don't really mind Final Fantasy art. I think it looks okay, and I don't think a lot of times there's games that try to look realistic and it looks too fake. In this case, I don't think it tries to look too realistic. It's got a decent balance. But I do think that World of Warcraft, in many ways, have much better looking zones.
Yeah, I say this constantly, and that is the thing with anytime you go for realism in a video game's design, you are inherently you're
dating your game.
You date your game. You put a date on your game. The next Call of Duty game is going to come out, and it's going to be more realistic. When you go for cartoonish graphics, they'll last forever, and they'll be able to stand the test of time. And everybody, I totally agree with you. Part of my experience with Final Fantasy might be slightly off because I am currently playing in like 420p. Because
I think a lot of the graphics suck too. Like I do. I think that they don't really look that great.
Yeah, I'm playing in 420. I'm playing in 420p.
Why are you playing in 420?
Because I knew that we were getting our PC sponsor for OTK like way before we did, so I didn't want to buy a new PC. So I'm still using a broken PC because I didn't ask them to send me my current one yet.
Yeah, he's banking on the hookup from Artesian.
Well, I came up with an idea for what I want the PC to look like. I asked them to make a PC filled with dice. I'm making a D&D computer, so it's going to be filled with dice. How cool is that?
Actual dice? That's pretty cool.
Yes, actual dice. They said that they could do it. They're gonna fill it up with actual dice. I think that there's an airflow problem right now, but we're working on that. It's gonna be all dice and fans. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be so cool. But yeah, until then, I'm working with this old dumper, you know. And if I stream any game in anything higher than 420p, it lags on stream. So
my god, dude!
Gotta keep the resolution low.
420.
It's not good. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, as I said, I didn't really think the Final Fantasy graphics are that great, to be honest. I think they're kind of shitty. But again, like, I played old school RuneScape. I dealt with that. It was just fine. I mean, I go back and I play Super Nintendo games sometimes. So as long as the gameplay is good, that's what I care about.
No, I think
game's a good game.
Definitely fair enough. I find Final Fantasy a lot of times look pretty, at least. It's just that many places is where they are trying to look very realistic, which can sometimes be a little bit immersion breaking when something doesn't look completely right. But I do see what you mean, though. And like Rich said, it does definitely put an age stamp on the game by going for that, because with every year, you're going to expect it to look better.
Yeah. It's funny, even if you look on like Twitch at the games that really last, the only realistic looking game that's lasted the test of time is really CSGO, right? Like, that's one of the only realistic games that continues to get good viewership. And who knows how long it'll be able to, like, World of Warcraft. Oh, GTA, true. Yeah, you guys have corrected me. Yeah, GTA has done it as well. My bad. Good point. Thank you for catching that. Yeah, League of Legends is not no, League of Legends is not real. That's exactly, that is my point.
League is not real?
That's what I've heard. I'm not sure, though. I haven't played it.
Yeah, I guess you have to ask, like,
I mean, there are some realism games that work, but definitely I think that games that don't have realism have a larger, they're more
easier time aging.
Yeah, I mean, like, Apex is still relatively new-ish game, right? It's still, actually, how old is it now?
It's like 3 years old.
3?
Mm-hmm.
Genshin Impact, that's going to last forever.
I mean, if you look at many of these
ASMR,
games, most games are actually just cartoon.
ASMR has fantastic graphics. That's one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, I've seen that, actually. They did nerf some of the graphics recently.
Did they actually?
Yeah, they did. They nerfed them.
Do not click.
Yeah, it might be permanently. Yeah. I'm not sure yet. So, Annie, what are your goals? Before we get into questions or anything, I wanted to ask, like, what are your goals of Final Fantasy? Like, what do you want to complete in the game?
I don't have... Can I say everything? So I want to experience everything at least once. I find myself being interested in getting all my jobs up, getting the battle classes and the gathering ones too, leveling everything, going through all the quests, unlocking everything, and do all raids and all kinds of instanced PvE things at least once, is how I see it. I was never really an endgame focused gamer in WoW either, so I don't see myself becoming like a super into the end game, like the most difficult content all the time. But I do want to try it at least to see how it feels, and that's pretty much my vision on it. I just want to experience everything, and I've heard relic farming is a thing, relic grinding, relic farming, all kinds of things. I just want to experience it all, because at the end of the day, I play WoW in a very completionist way, and I always go for all achievements and, mounts, transmogs, pets, everything. I left BFA with, I think, 4 achievements missing to get 100%, and I'm hoping to get that in Shadowlands. And that does mean that a lot of the very grindy achievements, like honorable kills, PvP pet battles, I have a lot of those behind me. So that means that I don't have long grinds left, except anima farming. So that kind of does leave space for me to do the grinding in Final Fantasy instead, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm grinding all the boring bits, but for me they're fun, to get all kinds of achievements. That's what I'm doing.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like for me, I feel like I can't really 100% two games. Like I'm trying to 100% just one game. Okay. So
Fair enough,
after I get
and
to
I don't know if I
it,
can either.
well,
Maybe I'm
it's like there's
optimistic.
some of them like with WoW, right? Like 5,000 PvP pet battles. Fuck that. Like I don't want to do that. It's like a 500 honor level. Come on, give me a break. Like this is just like these massive time investments that really, it's not. This is not a test of skill. Most people account share for them or buy accounts that they can merge them in and share the honor levels. It's just a bunch of bullshit. So I don't really want to invest my time into things like that because I just think that they're boring and they're not fun. And it's unfortunate that, you know, there are so many of them in the game with like achievements and stuff.
I
But
agree. They should be
I don't
deleted.
really know. Yeah, it kind of makes me want to just focus on, like with Final Fantasy, I just want to basically have the best possible character. Like that's what I want to have, the best possible character that looks really cool and has done like, you know, at least some of the end game content, right?
Like the end game content that gives the best looking gear.
Yeah, I want to have the biggest, coolest, sparkliest sword.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have a problem, dude. I think you're gonna be.
I think that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, it definitely does. Rich, you want to do some questions?
Yeah, sure, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get that BIS so fast, dude.
I mean, why wouldn't I? I mean, you just do it.
Guys, speaking of just do it, right now you could send us some questions on Twitter, on Discord. Just do it, and we'll read them on stream and we'll answer them. And then we can do the after show where you can ask us those questions directly. I do want to take a moment here really quickly to also say thank you to NordVPN, the new official sponsor of Allcraft, just to give you a little bit of insight into how cool they've been to us to work with. About 10 months ago, they said, hey, or actually about a year ago, they said, hey, would you guys want to work together on Allcraft? And we said, yeah, but we're going to be taking a short break. It's going to be a few weeks long. And then they came back to us a month later and they said, hey, are you ready to get the sponsorship going? And I go, yeah, we just need a few more weeks. And they were like, how many? And we're like, about 10 months. And still, they never abandoned us. They never gave up on us.
Yeah.
All this time later, they're still here. And you might have even seen they sponsored an episode way back before OTK came out. So I really do thank them a whole bunch for partnering up on the show, making a lot of the new production that we have possible. Huge shout out to everybody on the production team. Pecky's for pulling up everything as we talk about it to give you guys a little bit more context. And then also to Corporate and Socrates for grabbing all of that stuff for us in the first place so we even have it to show to you. There are a lot of people who've been helping us step this show up to the next level. And we're going to continue making the show better and better every single week. So a big thank you to everybody who makes this possible. And then also a big thank you to all the guests that we've ever had on the show. Annie, thank you for coming on yet again.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Yeah,
it's been
absolutely.
a really good time spending some time with my retainers.
Do you have a picture of the retainers? I saw mine, but I did not see the Asmon one. I don't even think Asmon knows what a retainer is.
I'm thinking of like whenever you have braces.
Yeah. Then I have to move.
They're like
give me a moment. I'll let you know when it's on.
They're like personal assistants that you don't pay, Asmon, and
oh, I know what that is. We have a different word for it.
And yeah, and Annie's look like me and you.
Okay.
Guys, if you just tweet at me, it makes it a little bit easier because we don't really have a hashtag that we've been using. All right, I'm starting to see a bunch of them come in right now. If somebody asks, are you guys recommending WoW or Final Fantasy based on what we've discussed today? That's from
I would
Tanner.
say the thing is, like, you can try whichever game you want, man. Like, there's some people that like the idea of playing WoW. Some people like the idea of playing Final Fantasy. I feel like WoW just came out with a content patch. If you like the gear grind of WoW, it's going to be just as good of a time as ever to play. But if you want to try Final Fantasy, do something new and do that, I'd say try that too.
So you can personalize the retainers to have certain ways of speaking. So when I press Asmongold, he says, yes. I hope this doesn't take long.
Oh. That's good. That's perfect. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like when Asmi goes, shit. I like when he says that.
And then,
Wait, what the hell? Why am I wearing a dress?
it was the only chess
Oh my
piece I had in my
God.
bags. It was the only
Sure. That's great. Oh my god.
It was the only chess piece I had. I
And
promise.
she gave you the same hairline that Phil Collins has.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a NordVPN logo on his head. Sponsored retainer.
Oh my god, Rich. And if you press quit, your goodbye message is, well, it's about time. Goodbye.
That's
And then
right.
we have
You're right.
And then we have Rich.
Okay.
He's called Rich Tato.
Okay. Okay.
And there he is. He's a
Wait, where? I don't see him.
Oh, look down. Look down, Rich. Way down.
What the heck?
He's a Lalafell, and his message is, been a long time coming, but the venture's finally finished. Venture is like his mission.
Yeah, that's what I say at the end of every single Asmongold stream. It's finally finished. How's me?
And then when you say goodbye to him, he says, thank the gods we're finished. I've got plans to put my hands in places I've never seen, if you know what I mean.
Wow, no comment, Rich? That's crazy, huh?
Man.
Damn.
You put a lot of work into that. Good job.
I did not make up these lines, by the way. There's like, these personalities exist, and they're just perfect for you.
They sure are.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Rich, you want to do another question?
Yeah, I'm looking at one right now.
All right.
So this one's for Annie, and it says, Annie, which features would you take from Final Fantasy and put into WoW?
The first thing I think of is the transmog, like glamour dye system. I think that's something that we miss in WoW. We have the transmog system, right? But in Final Fantasy, you can dye it to any color that you want, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, WoW really does make me want to dye. So I would love if we could get some dyes in WoW so we could change the colors of our gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. Rich, you want to do one more question?
Yeah, and Asmon, for a little bit of context, it's very similar to Diablo, the dye system in Diablo, because I know you've played that one. So So wait, where did it go? Sorry, I'm scrolling through these questions right now, and I'm not the best reader.
I have to say though, like the system itself, like the transmog system itself in WoW is better. It's cleaner and it's better. Like the way that you collect things is something that Final Fantasy can improve on. Because it's very clunky, and it's not, you can't reach it anywhere you are, and there's a limit of how many things you can put in your dressers, so to speak. So that's one part that Final Fantasy could actually take from WoW.
So it's like in WoD?
Exactly. It's like how it was before we had the proper system.
Yeah, exactly.
When we used to fill our banks and void banks with transmogs because we couldn't learn them. That's what they're going through now.
Yeah, this is a very out there question, but if graphics in new games got to the point where they looked as if it was real life, would you expect the games following them to look even better, or just have devs make bigger games?
That's such a five-head fucking futuristic opinion and question. I don't even fucking know. Like, that's the question. I don't even fucking know.
This question literally says, do you think that they will make graphics better than real life? Or do you think that they will hit a point where the graphics just get capped out and the worlds will just become bigger?
There will be a diminishing return of graphics. Yeah, sure. Like, you'll definitely hit the diminishing return. Because, like, human eye can only see so well. Sure.
Yeah, but the thing is at a certain point, it won't be relying on the human eye. You can just jack in.
Oh.
I don't know.
Wires straight into your brain. You just go to sleep. You go to sleep and you're playing a game.
Yeah. This is crazy. This is an actual game, dude. Have you seen this before?
No, I haven't seen this. Unreal 5?
Yep. Oh, yep. This is Unreal Engine 5. It is insane.
What the heck? I've always thought Unreal Engine kind of looked like shit.
I think 4 did. This one doesn't. Look at that, dude. Watch him change the light.
What the hell?
Those are triangles.
Yep.
Holy guac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tech
That's
demo,
crazy.
right? Like,
yeah, the one thing that's weak about Unreal is I think that the character models and human models are a little bit mediocre. They still kind of have that uncanny valley to them, and that's going to take a while for them to figure out.
I mean, it's just an engine, right? I mean, like they can. There's a
very true, very true.
I mean, there's a lot that can be done with that. It's just, I don't know. I don't buy it. Like this is a video, you know. You could use Unreal Engine to like render it out. This is like a 2 FPS game. There's no way it's not.
No, bro. Like it's not, because like how much different is this versus like the Demon Souls areas? Like did you play Demon Souls?
No, I promised you I would.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I still will. It's
gonna be
too. I don't think I did either.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make a deal with you right now, Asmon.
Okay.
I'll play all of the Dark Souls games that you want me to play. I'll beat all of them if on my birthday you'll play Doki Doki Literature Club with me.
Yeah, I'd do that, but yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like, there's no way you're gonna beat the Dark Souls games. Like, listen, guys, y'all have to understand this. Rich got through Rich killed the Taurus demon in Dark Souls, and then he got bored. Yeah, he did one shot. That was good. He got bored, and we started looking at YouTube videos. Like, it's gonna take you like a month to get through the first game, dude.
You remember I licked your head.
It's not even the gameplay that's gonna stop him. It's the mental.
It's a lot.
I'm actually pretty good at games. I just have crippling ADHD.
Yeah.
The only thing that can make me focus is paperwork. I don't know why. I am good at I am good at games.
Which isn't that bad. I agree with that. Oh, there's the those are the human models in Unreal. Look at that. Like
they look so good though.
Yeah, some of them do look good, but I do feel like they still have like the skin is like it looks not real to me. It looks fake to me.
It's the teeth don't have enough texture right now.
Yeah,
that throws me off. And
I'm used to that.
Yeah, yeah. It'd probably be better if they just had no teeth, right?
Yeah, it works quite well.
Yeah,
it's like plastic
the one with
surgery.
the wrinkles though looks good.
Yeah, it does. It's like the more fucked up the face is, the better it looks.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
otherwise it looks too pretty. I know, you're right.
Exactly.
You're right. It's like humans don't look this good. This is Photoshop.
I cannot wait to play games like that. I want to play games like I want to have games like this. Is one thing is that I look forward to wasting all day every day on a game. Like, there has never been a better feeling. Like, the last time that I did that was in Path of Exile. It was in like Metamorph League, I believe. And I remember
I've actually still never played Path of Exile.
Yeah, you're missing out. You should play the next league. It's really good. PoE 2 is going to be insane. There's no way you miss PoE 2.
Oh, no, I'm going to play that for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I was actually... There was something new that happened. Oh, it was a new season, I think, quite recently, like a couple months ago or something. And I was going to play it. Then I don't remember why I didn't. Oh, I got into Valorant. That's why. But yeah, I want to play PoE. I just never really got a chance to. And I was kind of scared to try it as well because I was told how complex it is. So at the time, I just continued playing Valorant instead. But I'm definitely interested in trying PoE for PoE 2 especially.
It's like you get into a game and you wake up in the morning and you're like, man, all I'm going to do today is play this game. Like, that's it. And you're so happy. You're like, man, I'm really doing something special today. Like, shut up, Rich. Shut up.
They started, dude, I tried.
Yeah, it's their fault. Yeah.
I really tried.
Yeah, sure.
You did. You said it.
That's hilarious, man. We're all laughing our ass off.
We just wake up every day and one thing's in my head.
That's not what I was trying to say. Dude, like, you know what I mean, man. You play a game and it's like, dude, all you want to do is play the game. You feel like a winner whenever you're playing the game. And it's great. That's what I want to do. I want to find a new game that I can waste my life over and to think that it's not a waste. And that's why I'm actually like, I know people don't believe it, but I am genuinely hyped to play Final Fantasy. Like, I want to play Final Fantasy because I'm looking for that next game that's worthy of me to waste my life on it.
You know what's cool about Final Fantasy as well? And I know that you're going to have a similar phenomena.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm very close to a milestone, so I can't play the game off stream because like you'd be robbing people of like that moment that you get Summoner or you get Chocobo.
Yeah. Sometimes I find myself like, oh, I'm just gonna, get another skill in this crafting profession, and then I'm like, wait, no, I need to do this on stream. Like, and it's a really nice feeling. Also, another thing, like it's no secret. Like since I swapped to Final Fantasy, I've also had lots more viewers as well. People are genuinely more interested in watching me play Final Fantasy. So it's like even more, I guess, encouragement for me to actually know life into all those things because I do enjoy it, and if people enjoy it, it's like win-win, right? And it's a really cool feeling because I've had. Anyone who's followed me for years knows, like, I take lots of breaks from WoW and I play other games. And even if they're not good for my channel, I do. Like, I had months and months of Among Us, which wasn't very good for my channel. People hated it. And I would still play it. I would get half the viewers compared to WoW, but I would still play it. And I would play Valorant, even though people hated that as well. And it's really cool to play a different game where I get the opposite reaction. And I'm really happy about that, and being able to, like you said, dive in and just feel like waking up and progress on this new thing. That's definitely what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I think too, it also, if you probably started streaming Final Fantasy like half a year ago or something like that, or even longer, I'm curious if the amount of viewers and the people who are watching, because like you're a fantastic streamer, right? Like I think that no matter what game you play, obviously you're always going to have a community around you, but with Final Fantasy right now, there are a lot of people who are hungry to watch Final Fantasy, and I'm curious if it's because there isn't like a new MMO out, if it's because of the new expansion coming out, if it's because people are tired of WoW. I'm genuinely curious why so many people are so hungry for Final Fantasy content.
Yeah, no, I felt the same. And I think since the campaign, and I think probably you guys also talking about Final Fantasy and in general, the general viewership for everyone in the category has increased. Right before the campaign, when I just saw my own numbers going up, when I was looking at, I even tweeted around the time when I was playing, I was like, where are the Final Fantasy streamers? Because I didn't see anyone who seemed established, right? I saw streamers who had maybe like 200 viewers at most, maybe 300, maybe 400. And when I tweeted, that's when I got to know certain names that were bigger in the community. People like Zepla, for example. Then I heard of Jesse Cox as well, and a couple others. And I think there's just not there isn't that many established streamers in Final Fantasy in general, but I think this campaign has like buffed all of those people, and I think that's really nice for the category as a whole as well, to see that it's being lifted, and it's thanks to everyone who is playing the game and checking out the game. Everyone is curious, what's going to happen with this game. All these WoW people are coming in. What does that mean? Do they enjoy it? It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I also do think that the community has been really positive to World of Warcraft people coming in, and I
go watching my video. Dude, she's watching the anime's girls watching my video.
Damn, dude. Oh my god.
Can you click on it? Please don't give me an ad. Don't give me a fuck. God damn it. Are you kidding me, man?
Make your money, fellow streamer. Make your money.
I gotta see this. This is crazy. People watching my own video. Wow. And they're actually pausing there and sitting around talking about it. It's just like my stream.
Is she getting a head pat?
Oh my god, what is that head? Oh.
That's good. That's if she's a good girl. You have to donate bits for that.
That is genius.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
I wonder what you're saying right now in the video.
The more bits that you donate, the lower the hand goes.
Really?
Wow, that's a good idea.
No, I just invented that.
Oh, that's what you would do.
What do you think you're saying right now in the video?
I'm probably talking about how I'm not going to commit to anything and nobody should expect me to do anything because I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. That's probably what it was. That's the whole game. The whole video about the game.
I bet you probably just said like listen a few times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
No, look, all right, dude, here it is. Look, let me tell you something. All right, listen, here it is. All right, check this out. Take a look. All right, listen here. Yeah, exactly. I know how it is. Well, listen, Annie, thank you very much for coming onto the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for inviting me.
Yeah, 26,000 subs.
Wow, congrats.
22.
22.
Yeah.
That's more than me. Holy shit. That's you're killing it. You're absolutely killing it. Congrats.
I'm well aware it's temporary though, obviously, but it is still crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It is still crazy.
It's still awesome.
I just want to think about the fact that it's like temporary. Like you're gonna come back and like a month from now, and they're just gonna come out with another melt because they care about their community. Like it really does seem like they were happy. I mean,
if you overdo it, it's too much too, right? Like if you overdo it, then it's not nice anymore.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. And they should add all the WoW streamers on the list too, like every single one. And they should do it every 10 days.
Every 10 days in
a new color chocobo.
Give subs to Asmongold and you get a new chocobo mount.
Yeah, you get 3 of them. You know. Can't be anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
True. Can't be anonymous.
No, in all seriousness, though, Annie, it's always a pleasure. It's been about a year since we've really been doing Allcraft consistently, and that year, it's been a year since you've been on, so it's been way too long. Hope to have one of these with you really soon, where we can catch up about Endgame of Final Fantasy, talk about some of these new MMOs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also like that Final Fantasy has opened my eyes to other MMOs as well, because before I was like, no, there's no way, I'm not gonna bother trying. But now I'm more open to it. So it's exciting.
you gotta play Ashes of Creation and like New World. Like we're gonna pop off on those games. Like we're gonna straight up pop off. Like I'm ready to go to work.
Yeah, I'm ready
so
to.
Excited.
I'll play whatever caster is there.
Yeah.
Man, the magic, it's really hard to even hit like a turkey. I struggled with some of the magic, and I struggled a little bit with some of the magic in New World, but I'm really excited to see all the changes.
Are they like skill based?
It's because Rich sucked. It wasn't that hard.
Those turkeys were real fast. Yeah, they were real fast.
Well, because they be going one way, and then you start shooting at them. They're like, oh, and then they juke you, man. Like honestly, I'm not even kidding. Like the mobs and like the turkeys in New World spent more time avoiding my attacks than players in Valorant.
Yeah, and I'll be honest too.
Cool,
it was probably
skill based like that.
I think part of it too was because at the time I was in Ukraine and potentially was not on the most secure internet connection. But luckily for me now, I downloaded NordVPN using code Allcraft, and I got huge percentage. Code Allcraft. Okay. ALLCRAFT. You can actually you can click right now, go over to NordVPN and at least put the code in, even if you don't download the app. If you want to be secure, download the app. It just put it in. I'm sure that they'll know that you put it in and they won't absolutely hate us. I got fired from my last job. I don't know if you guys know that. Let's not let that happen again. Thank you guys very much for another episode of Allcraft.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Really appreciate you guys. Can follow Annie. If the mods can go ahead and link Annie's socials. I think Annie, you're streaming now, aren't you?
I am.
You're just chilling. Okay. Yep. Annie's
I'm chilling.
Yep. She's streaming, chilling right now. You guys want to go support her? We're also going to be doing the after show over on Rich's stream, where we take some of your questions and you guys can come in and ask us questions, and we have actual viewer call-ins. So look forward to seeing you there, guys. If you want to see what's going to happen there, just go over to Rich's channel, or we're just going to host over to that channel in just a few minutes whenever Rich gets it started. So again, Annie, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. And
thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I'll probably be ending up playing with you and Rich as well in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
All right.
Good luck on, what is it, Saturday, right?
Saturday.
That you're playing. Yeah, good luck on Saturday.
All right, thank you.
I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing that.
Yes, I'm quite nervous. Anyway, yep. Thank you guys. I'll see y'all later.
Bye
Peace.
bye.